Hello, my lovely sensitive souls. How are y'all doing? It's a new year, 2026. I want to check in. I not only want to check in with the collective, but I want to use this as an opportunity to check in with myself as well. I feel like as the years progress, I have just formed a different view on New Year's, holidays, setting goals, timelines. It's been an awakening experience, but it can also feel uncomfortable at the same time. So I want you to watch this, especially if you are a sensitive soul, if you are neurodivergent, if you feel different, if you've always viewed the world through an outsider's lens and perspective. You are specifically who I want to talk to. 2026 is here, and I'm truly just mind boggled. I don't know where the time is going. Every single year, it feels more and more like time isn't real. January 9th was National Quitters Day. And I don't know if many people knew this because I don't see a lot of people talking about it or post about it at all. I've just heard it. I heard it once in a podcast actually last year. It's just so funny to me that, society places so much expectation and pressure on us to become this new and evolved versions of ourselves and to implement, change in our routines and work hard and be consistent. And all of that is cool because I do believe, we got to take accountability. We got to push ourselves to be better than we were yesterday. However, I do feel like there is a false sense of urgency, and New Year's resolutions and goals were mostly implemented for the intention of marketing for businesses, spending money, and making people feel pressured to buy memberships on January 2nd, gym memberships on January 2nd, and make all of these unrealistic goals and purchases. The fact that there is a National Quitters Day is just comical to me because they know, you know what I mean? Like they know that reaching, these goals it can be unrealistic because it's more complex than that. To form a habit and to stay consistent on something is it takes so much more work than just waking up one day and deciding that you are no longer, going to be the person you were yesterday. We make these New Year's resolutions and goals on a high, right? It's the end of the year, Christmas just passed. We're in this in between, right? We're in this pause of getting back to normal life. So when you envision going back to this normal life, you want it to look different because everything is new, right? There's novel energy in the air and you want to match that. And it's really cool, making vision boards, journaling and writing goals for yourself. It's a beautiful thing. I don't think that should change. I know people say the real new year is in March with the new seasons. That is true. I feel like I have more sense of newness and shedding old skin around that time. However, it doesn't take away the fact that it is a new calendar year and everybody is celebrating. I still believe that it is necessary to create some type of intention for yourself. So I would like to share something that has helped me. I am very sensitive. I am neurodivergent. I have ADHD, and there's just certain things that I know my body can't operate. Like my body and my mind cannot operate a certain way. New Year's resolutions and creating big goals is one of them. Not to say that I can't create certain intentions for myself, but I guess someone like me and maybe even someone like you, it just doesn't work. We are not I think humans in general, but specifically people whose internal world operates differently, we're not meant to put so much pressure on ourselves and force ourselves into consistency when our body just doesn't want to. I kind of have to move a little slowly. That's how I've always been growing up. I just was very cautious with everything I did, and I just thought it through a lot. And it might have taken me more time than others to form a certain habit, in school, to take tests, stuff like that. That's something that I have accepted now in my adult life. Like, it's okay. Because of that acceptance, I just started to learn different systems for myself. So for this new year, and I encourage you to do the same. I know today's January 12th, so we're already about 2 weeks in, but I just think it's very fitting to share this when it is 3 days after National Quitters Day, and you might find yourself losing the momentum, losing the motivation you had at the beginning of the year. That's not to say that quitting is bad. I know everybody kind of views that word and views it in a negative way. But the truth is, maybe you just needed to implement a different system for yourself. Use this as an opportunity to get to know yourself more. Why do I find myself giving up now? What could I have done differently? It's not about becoming somebody new. It's actually learning more about yourself. It's about finding out what you actually need. Beginning of the year, I did write some goals down, and it's not necessarily, things I want to do in 2026. It's like, I don't need to get this done this year. I'm not putting pressure on myself to get this done in the next year. It's just things I want to do, things that have been inspiring me lately. And I just want to work my way towards it. One thing I did do for the new year is come up with 1 to 3 words of just themes that I want to cultivate more of this year. And these themes can be anything. My main word is change, but specifically uncomfortable change. That can look like anything. It can look like changing locations, new relationships, change in any way, shape, or form. And it can be uncomfortable change, comfortable change, expected, unexpected, positive change, negative change. I really just want to feel more and know that it's coming, because for the past couple of years, I'm aware that I have been stuck or stagnant or in the same patterns, in the same environments. Now I just want change. I want to experience what that's like in my body, and I want to learn to adapt. That was the word, and is still the word that I'm always coming back to when it is the new year, when it is 2026, and I feel like things are changing and it's making me uncomfortable, and things are moving fast. I can say to myself, okay, Shaq, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to experience this change, and that is what's happening. So I encourage you to write down a word or think of a word right now. What is a word you want to cultivate more of this year? And don't attach any outcomes to it, and let that be your guide for the rest of the year. Of course, still be intentional, hold yourself accountable, take responsibility, put yourself out there, do what you need to do in order for you to see this word manifest in whatever way it is meant to. I realize this is something that can really work for sensitive souls, creatives, artists, and just spiritual seekers in general. Because one thing I realize is that when it is a new year, everybody is making all of these goals, becoming somebody new, forming a different habit, getting a different job, really doing a 360 and changing your lifestyle and changing who you are. And it's always positive, right? It's always positive. More money, healthier, better body, more fit, but we don't make room for what could go wrong. Not to be a pessimist and say, something's always going to go wrong, but it's like, as humans, it's important for us to understand the balance of good and bad. If we're experiencing good, there's probably going to be a bad experience, balancing that out. It's like a seesaw. Your fulcrum point, right, is in the middle. You have the bad on one side and you have the good on the other. So in other words, shadows on one side and your ego on the other. The point is to always have it balanced as much as you can. If you go tip too much towards one side, which is in this case, ego, when it does tip, it's going to tip. And when you experience the bad, it's really going to take you by surprise and not be something that you were prepared for. And you might stay there longer than you need to. I realize that is what's going on. You know, when the new year starts, everybody is so in their ego and just ready to manifest all these amazing things that when, let's say, they gave up or things don't go the way they had planned, they hit rock bottom hard. They hit the other side of the seesaw hard. And it's really hard. It's difficult to get back up because you didn't prepare yourself for that. Going into the new year with just the intention of 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, and letting that guide you through the year can help you prepare for anything because you weren't putting expectations on yourself. You didn't have a whole map, a whole plan of your year, and you're just letting the universe guide you through the year and for everything to happen the way that it is supposed to. Everything is already written. Whatever is going to happen to you tomorrow was always going to happen to you tomorrow. There's nothing you could have done to change that. The point is to find and create the systems that work for you, especially based off of how your inner world operates. If you know you are someone that is very sensitive, then honor that. Find ways to implement change without overwhelming yourself, overwhelming your nervous system. These are the things that have really worked for me. Even if you find yourself not able to achieve certain goals or you don't do everything that was on your vision board, understand that there is a time for everything. And just because something didn't get done during the time that you wanted or expected it to, doesn't mean it isn't going to, right? Maybe it just wasn't the right time. Do not listen to everything you see on the internet. And that's something that has also helped me as well, is just understanding that, okay, this is what works for this person, doesn't mean it's going to work for me. I know there's so much information that you see every single day. And the idea is just because it went viral doesn't mean it's not accurate information. You know, take everything with a grain of salt. Take information from one place, from the other, from whatever, and make it your own. Form your own thoughts, form your own opinions, form your own systems. Find your own flow, what works for you. I promise you, everything will make more sense and you will start to understand yourself more and understand what you need, why, and at any given moment. That's pretty much it. I hope this helped you, especially navigate this new year. By the way, I have a free community. It's called Art and Alchemy, and it's for sensitive souls and creatives to come together and have a community of like-minded individuals, especially if you're someone it feels so hard for you to find others you can genuinely connect to. This is the community for you. So feel free to check it out and join. I'm so excited to see you there. Thank you for watching. My name is Shaki, and have a beautiful day. Bye.